Hi, I'm Chris Woolf, author of Bumbling Through the Hindu Kush, a memoir of fear and kindness in Afghanistan. And I'm here to answer your questions about the book, the trip, Afghanistan, myself, or anything else that might interest you. And today's question is from Chris in Western Massachusetts, who wrote on Facebook, "What the heck were you doing there? I mean, there's semester abroad, and then there's what was I thinking?" Well, it's a great question, Chris, and I go into some detail, of course, in the book, but I have to agree, yes, there are better places for vacation. But to cut a long story short, I was curious, and most importantly, I thought it was good for my career. I was a BBC journalist at the time for the BBC World Service, and trying out the role of a foreign correspondent seemed like the logical next step for my career. Problem was, I had no idea what was involved. My buddy, my peer from the BBC, Chris Bowers, had gotten the job of Kabul correspondent and invited me to go check it out. So that was the principal impulse, to see if I would like the life and could make that my career. I must confess, though, I also had a boyhood fascination with all things military and a love of history, and had even tried a stint in the Territorial Army. But then, on top of that, I was actually fascinated by Afghanistan itself. I grew up in Britain at a time where there was still the remnants of an empire. We still had maps that were predominantly painted pink. And I was fascinated by Afghanistan, that people there had managed to defy the might of the British Empire, not just once, but 3 times. And then that history seemed to be repeating itself with the Russian invasion and the communist era. And so there were those 3 things that drew me to Afghanistan at that time. Catch up with my buddy, see if I would like the life of a correspondent. That was the most important thing. And then just to pique my curiosity about Afghanistan and, in some sense, all things military. But I have to be clear, I was not expecting to go anywhere or do anything particularly dangerous. In fact, I had mentioned to my buddy that it would be good if we could see a little bit more of the country than just the capital, Kabul, thinking that we would fly from one safely held government city to another. But no, we hitched a ride with an aid convoy and bumbled straight into the war. Anyway, hope that answers your question, Chris. If anyone else has a question, then pop it in the comments below, or find us on Facebook or Twitter. And don't forget to sign up for our mailing list so you can get the latest news on the release of my book, Bumbling Through the Hindu Kush. Thank you for joining us.